it is quite stressful to procrastinate.
Stress, burnout, man, you gotta constantly running an engine on the afterburners eventually breaks the engine. It doesn't have a long life. Cars that are bagged, pedal to the metal, ripping it, just bagging the shit out of the car, they don't last long.
It's true.
So you can't expect to have long, sustainable results by always running on the afterburners because, shocker, we left it to the last minute. We were too busy on other things, and we accept new challenges when we know we shouldn't, but we'll figure it out. And then we're going to leave what we already committed to the last minute and keep all the balls in the air, and hopefully nothing breaks, and rely on some afterburners.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is another week and another episode of the Budo Brothers podcast. You got Kyle.
And Eric.
And lately I was on full throttle with work. I just had a huge project. And of course,
tight deadline.
Like typical Eric and Kyle fashion, left it till last minute.
Shocker.
And we have made a new hire, Tiffany. She's amazing. She has completely changed the game of Budo Brothers.
Our operations manager.
She is the yin to our yang.
Yes.
She is organized, on point, gets stuff done right away, whereas we are procrastinators.
Fact.
And with procrastination, the benefit is you learn to be extremely good at adaptability. Your adaptability and your ability to change on the fly and to just be in the moment is at an all-time high. But that comes at a cost.
Oh, yeah.
And it is quite stressful to procrastinate.
Stress, burnout, man, you gotta constantly running an engine on the afterburners eventually breaks the engine. It doesn't have a long life. Cars that are bagged, pedal to the metal, ripping it, just bagging the shit out of the car, they don't last long.
It's true.
So you can't expect to have long, sustainable results by always running on the afterburners because, shocker, we left it to the last minute. We were too busy on other things, and we accept new challenges when we know we shouldn't, but we'll figure it out. And then we're going to leave what we already committed to the last minute and keep all the balls in the air, and hopefully nothing breaks, and rely on some afterburners.
So how do you prevent procrastination? Because I feel like procrastination comes from lack of organization, lack of ability to see the future clearly enough to know that you need to be putting in work to achieve an outcome well before the stress of time kicks into play.
Yeah. And organization is a big part of it. A lot of it, I think, as well, is desire. I don't want to do it, even though you got to do it. We often procrastinate that which we do not want to do. And usually it's the last thing we do because you either don't want to confront it, or you don't want to handle it, or you don't like doing it. But there's a lot of things in life we have to do that we don't want to do, even though it's good. They're good things.
Does everybody procrastinate in some area, do you believe? Or are there people that are just perfect and they get stuff done in every facet of their life?
I don't know. I've met highly operational executors that, don't procrastinate. That if they why do tomorrow that which you could do today is their attitude.
Yeah, but maybe they procrastinate in like their relationships,
probably,
do you think, or something?
Yeah,
or do you think that there are people out there that just, when they say it, they do it and it just gets done?
Yeah, I think there's a blend. Of course, there's no perfect superhumans that don't procrastinate. Procrastination is a constant battle for all of us. It's just the level to which degree.
One area that is common for, I would say 90, maybe 80-20, maybe 90-10, is our physical health. A lot of people procrastinate with building themselves a proper nutrition, proper exercise regime, eating the right type of supplements, getting the right amount of sleep until later in life. When you're younger, your body is so adaptable and so nimble, it doesn't need to have a strict regimen and regime.
Yeah.
And you build bad habits then, right? I'm going to crush some McDonald's. Oh, I'm going to drink that alcohol. Oh, I'm going to do all these things that just are not, that don't produce a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then you hit a certain age and your recovery starts to slow. You start getting hangovers, you start feeling pain in your joints, you start
falling apart.
And all of a sudden you see people, I live a healthy lifestyle now. I eat well. I do all these things. And they really focus on it. And the older they get, the more that becomes the major focus. Mm-hmm. I wonder what would happen if the 90% of the people that waited till their 60s, 70s, 80s to really focus on their health started focusing on it when they're 18.
Live to 120, baby.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's easy to procrastinate on exertion. Working out is difficult. A lot of times we don't want to go exercise. And I find it's so easy to procrastinate working out as soon as you've broken your regimen, I work out in the evenings, I work out in the mornings, or I just got too busy, you fell off the horse, you got sick, you got injured, and then you're off the horse and the momentum's gone. It's I found it easy to put it off, and it's just harder to get back into that groove where you don't procrastinate. When it's time to work out, you work out.
Sometimes I find that, we find that intermittent fasting works really well for us.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of success with that type of nutrition, but I know that if I've been intermittent fasting for a long time, I feel great and things are going really well. And all of a sudden I have a day or two of just regular or maybe binge eating. Like let's say we went out and all of a sudden you wake up the next day and you start eating regular junk food because you feel not as good.
Yeah.
It is so hard to get back onto the program as planned. Whereas before you were running like a smooth operator.
Yeah. So routine has a lot to do with it from the sounds of
consistent work over long periods of time. Work better than intense work over short periods of time.
Yeah.
Because your machine or your body or your mind is tested way more in the intense moments than it is consistently working over long periods of time.
Yeah.
And maybe there are people that work better in sprints. I actually sometimes feel like I work better in sprints. I can work hard, but then I gotta rest. And I can work hard, but then I gotta rest. The problem comes when you just work hard, you work hard, you work hard, you work hard, you work hard.
Burn out.
And you don't give that
recovery.
Yeah.
It's like working out 3 times a day, every single day. You're going to have issues.
Yeah.
You're going to get injured. Proper recovery is so crucial.
And what I always notice, because I get sick.
When you're pushing the pedal to the metal?
Yeah. There's 2 major things that happen. My nutrition falls off the planet.
Yeah.
And I start eating just the worst types of foods. And I eventually get sick. And it's just I feel like crap after, and then I have to build back into my routine. Whereas like if I stay consistent with my routine, I could go for much longer periods of time, get my work done. And sleep is so important for it. Sleep is just a massive, massive game changer.
For sure. How much do you think desire has to do with procrastination? Is procrastinating because people don't desire to do whatever it is, or is it? What is it? What is the source of procrastination?
I don't know if it's desire, more so loss.
Okay. Fear of loss?
Fear of loss or fear of failure, right?
Explain.
Let's take our last project. We had a year
Yeah.
to get it done.
And left it to the last
And
weekend.
we both agreed that it was important
Yes.
to do this.
In advance. And
we
always reminded her.
Saw the value that this is important. And we talked about it and we consistently had awareness of it, but we never did
Executed.
anything.
Because we have to do this first. Yeah, you know what? Let's hammer that after we fill in the blank.
And then we got a little scare
Yeah.
of
It's game time.
this might fail or this might not work out. And we did a year's work in a weekend,
Yeah. Pretty much.
right?
And that's always the case. I find that we often make things up in our minds of how insurmountable the little task might be, or how much work it's going to take, or the 1,000 excuses that would prevent us from actually just doing the task, that if you literally just pushed a timer and sat down and focused and did it, you'd realize you could do whatever that small task that you've been procrastinating on. You can do it in minimum. It's always shorter than you think it is in terms of actually focusing. It always takes a lot longer in our heads and in our minds, and often that inaction prevents us from actually just starting and executing.
And yeah, making the plan that you stick to that is going to yield the results that you want, like an exercise program, weekly meetings within a business,
Yes.
savings plan. One of the scariest things to procrastinate on is saving for retirement, in my opinion. It keeps me up at night sometimes
Yeah.
because we all know how difficult it is to earn money and to live and to survive when you're healthy and you're capable and you're in your prime work years. But now we have to extrapolate that to our 70s, our 80s, our 90s. Maybe we're living to 110, 120. How do we save the resources in order to survive those times? In particularly when, if we keep at this trajectory in our economy, pensions and government subsidies and financing might not be there to help us.
It's a cool story, but I'll guarantee the system is broken, and the odds of everyone getting everything they were promised are pretty low.
And buying and saving real assets, gold and silver, real estate,
Farmland,
owning businesses and companies,
productive assets
is going to be so vital no matter who you are. Like, you can have a combination of those things no matter what you do for work, but the hard part is you can't procrastinate on it. I look at where we're at right now with Budo Brothers, and we're still in the infancy stage of what it is we're doing. And sometimes I'm maybe a bit too hard, but we're going so slow. Like, could we be doing more? Could we be working better? Could we be working more efficiently? Are we procrastinating on something right now?
Yeah.
But then you have to swing to the other side and be like, you're just a human, and
We're trying to figure it out.
you're trying to figure it out. So that's the fine balance between these things. How do you catch yourself procrastinating? Is it only when you figure out, like, man, I messed up, I got to do this in a weekend?
Yeah. I think a big part of my procrastination is, one thing, I accept too many things. I just bite off more than I can chew on a consistent basis. But I also find that I work best under pressure. When do I get shit done? It's when it has to be done. It's when it's game time. It's when there's I put me in coach, clutch time. I don't know what, I don't know why. I'm sure we're all like that. When it really matters, you get it done.
The best creations come out of necessity.
Yeah.
When everything's on the line, that's when the best creations
For sure.
are invented.
Yeah.
And it's because the seriousness of the outcome is paramount. If you do not figure this out, something bad is going to happen. And humans adapt.
Yes.
You adapt to the pressure.
Yeah.
Or you disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two options with that. So, yeah, the best diamonds are ground from the, what's the saying?
Takes pressure to make a diamond.
Yeah.
The sharpest steel is ground from the hardest stone.
I missed the diamonds and the steel. But it's true. The pressure is what makes greatness.
Yeah.
And if you look at the most iconic pro athletes in the world, they are the ones that in the most pressure situations, they shined.
Yeah.
And the ones that you don't know their names anymore, they wilted. They did not make it through.
But in that ability for them to become those clutch players, they had to train. They had to work on it. They had to put in the hours. They didn't procrastinate on that.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you have people that are just built for pressure.
Yeah.
Like certain pitchers just come in to the game to throw the most intense situation of the game, or you put in your best forward in hockey, or you have your closers. There's people who are built to handle pressure better than others. And we call that wartime generals. We know that we both like to operate as wartime generals. When there's fires and when stuff's going crazy, put us in. That's but when there's peace, it has a negative effect because you do not have the stimulus
and that urgency.
Yeah, and that urgency to act in a way that's going to produce amazing results.
So can you artificially create that? Can you artificially create urgency that will stimulate that fight or flight mentality to kick into action and hopefully get after it?
I think creating the right team and structure has helped us. The addition of Tiffany really, it's what are you guys doing? We're doing meetings now, which you and I would have never have done before.
No.
So having the right support, putting in a person who thinks that way. The other thing is it's down to putting in the right routines. If you want to get fit, you need to put in a consistent exercise routine and focus on the exercise routine rather than the result of the muscles.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to get good at business, you better focus on marketing, sales, customer relationships, the areas of business that you need to focus on.
Yeah. And one thing that I've recently been experimenting with is when I know I don't want to do something, there's something, administration work or, doing finances or whatever it is, where it's or doing the dishes, something as simple as doing the dishes. Well, guess what? The dishes need to get done eventually or my sink is going to stink.
Yeah.
So if the dishes need to be done eventually, I ask myself, why not do it now? If it has to get done, why not do it now? And if I can't come up with a legitimately good reason of why I can't do it the moment that I'm realizing I'm procrastinating, I walk past the dish. Oh man, it's piling up. I gotta do dishes. But there's Netflix. Totally. I'm tired.
Also, environment has a lot to do with things. When I put my gym in my basement, so much easier for me to make warm workouts. Because the whole act of getting in my car, going to the gym, that excuse is out the window.
Right.
If your desk is organized that when you sit at it, you're ready to go rather than looking for papers or figuring out where the files are. When you get there, you're able to put it, the hardest part is showing up.
Yeah.
And if you show up and there's a layer of bullshit that you have to get through in order to do the task.
Yeah.
You're generally forget this. Like if you go to work out and there's like a delay,
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't do it anymore. There's 30-minute delay. Forget it.
But you know, one of my biggest problems is every time I clean up, I never know where anything is. There's pluses and minuses. I'm just naturally disorganized. That's just how I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that brings up a good point where if you know your true nature and you know that is your nature, the best thing to do is to put a person into your life, business partner, associate, relationship, girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever, that can do the things and enjoy the things that you don't. And I see that paramount in my life and within the business. Like when we brought on help for this role, it really changed things. Like she likes organizing. We hate organizing. And shocker, things have gotten so much better since we've gotten more organized.
Yeah, we're running more efficiently.
Yes.
We are working smarter while still working hard, but we're not working harder and not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
We're working hard, but now we're working smart and hard. And we're seeing results. We're seeing we are now being able to do more because we have more resources.
Yeah. And you know, if you're a messy person, and you know you are, but you know that when your environment is clean, you get more work done. Maybe it's time to hire a cleaner or to get the person in that's going to produce the results that you want. I saw it a lot in fitness. People were not accountable to themselves, so they had to hire a trainer in order to be accountable to somebody else. But being accountable to somebody else forced them to go to the gym, and it got them in shape, which helps them live longer, move better, and live a better life. So putting the right tools in place in order to prevent these breaks. And it all comes down to self-awareness.
Beautiful.
Knowing yourself. Knowing the areas you're weak. Because an alcoholic or a person addicted to food, or they know that they can't be in certain environments, in certain situations, because it's a trigger, or they have to live a regimented lifestyle in order to be successful. And if they're out of that regimen, it's a lot harder to stick to the plan. And so building a lifestyle, building a system, building in these efficiencies allows for growth and allows for to be efficient.
Budo Brothers Challenge.
That's a tough one. I would say do an analysis of the area that you find you're falling behind in and becoming inefficient at. And see if there is a way to implement a tool, a strategy, a software, a person, a thing to replace you in that part of your life in order to become more efficient.
So you don't have to procrastinate at doing what you hate.
Yeah.
Or you've hacked it. You've figured it out. There's a way to, maybe it's tricking yourself. Maybe it's, if I do this, I can watch my favorite next Netflix show. Put something in. I've found that to work.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit down and watch something unless I'm able to get something done.
Love it.
Something along those lines. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next week.
See you later.